Hi, I'm Student Trustee Ayesha Shafiuddin as well as President of the Computer Science Club. I chose to study computer science because I fell in love with coding. I actually would like to start by sharing a little story about myself. I immigrated to the United States and it taught me a way of thinking very resiliently. And going into the tech industry, I've always taken that mindset whenever I faced obstacles. Now, some of the more bigger obstacles are actually just not seeing a lot of me in the tech industry. Like, I don't see a lot of women in my classrooms, and that can be really daunting because it creates this aura of like that we don't exist in this field at all. It's a heavily male-dominated field, but I do think that I've grown super strong out of that because I found my own voice and my own confidence through reasserting myself and my own value in this field. So that's been a little bit of an obstacle for me compared to other fields, whereas before I used to be a business major and I saw a lot more women there, and even that is relatively new, so it's exciting to be exploring these trends, but I wouldn't even say that they're an obstacle. I take them as a challenge and I keep moving forward through them. I actually got interested in IT because of my leadership involvement. I used to be involved with Student Leadership Council as a student representative, and I met another leader who was starting up a computer science club. And the reason why we met is because he needed assistance in starting the club. And through him, I actually learned about the computer science field. At the same time, consequently, I was taking a programming logic and technique class. And throughout the progression of this course, I fell in love with the course more and more so. And it made me realize that coding is not a foreign topic. Anybody can do it, especially a girl like me who had no idea that I could go into a tech industry. As a result of that, now I'm the president of the Computer Science Club, student trustee of my college, and I've had amazing endeavors out there through leadership and a computer science touch to my thinking. I've gone to Washington, D.C. to talk to our congressmen and women, and I've explored so many amazing opportunities that I wouldn't have had I not explored this new field and new way of thinking. I think the biggest obstacle that women and girls and women face in the STEM field is probably the lack of seeing each other in the field. In America, there's not really a cultural association or a negative implication. There might be one that's more coming from somewhere else, but from my understanding, growing up in Saudi Arabia and then immigrating here to the United States, a lot of times it's very non-traditional for a woman to pursue a career as bold as going into a STEM field like computer science. So this has been very non-traditional, out of the norm, but hopefully as the future, as we see in the future, the trend only increases and women don't really see that as a challenge, but I think right now that's the biggest obstacle. One of the problems I see women facing in the STEM field is just the lack of them. Oftentimes when I look around me in classrooms, it's mostly a male majority. Usually there's one or two other girls, and sometimes it gets really awkward because connecting across the gender can be really weird for some girls. I particularly have not had a problem with that, but I've seen other women having that issue. The other thing that I've noticed in the industry is that usually because there are lesser women, I think it's harder to break into tech. But these are just my presumptions. I'm not sure exactly if that's the case or not. But I've sensed that around being the fear of most women who enter STEM. My suggestion to young girls is to really explore your different fields of study. I think the one thing I didn't do as well growing up here in America is I didn't really take the resources around me as seriously or explore the opportunities into technology. Tech can seem really daunting, especially with all the mathematics and the big, like engineering pathways there are for many students. But it doesn't just mean that it's limiting you just because you can't do math or a particular science. I would encourage all girls to explore it because it's super enlightening. It has a lot of benefits in the work field, and it has landed me a job too as I work an internship. So I would really highly recommend exploring technology at an earlier age on rather than later. Ladies, it's time for change. Join the Women in STEM movement.